Liquid, fire and water. So there's the two are these are the two elements that make up Pitta energy, the Pitta kind of body. And when there's too much fire and water in the body, one way that the body tries to get rid of this excess is through through the bowel. So loose stool is one characteristic of excess Pitta energy. So if you're having a high Pitta period, a very hot summer, or within you, you're Pitta aggravated because you just can't give up the cheese, wine and chocolate before you go to bed every night, that is probably you'll see that in the bowel. So if there's a hot, liquidy, loose bowel, then that is a sign that Pitta energy is out of balance. Soft muscles, excess urine, again there's that water element, excess sweating, there's that water element. And remember that sweat is also giving out, it's quite acidic sweat. So it's also, there's a sort of, remember that acid is one of those waste products of Pitta. So the body is trying to get rid of excess fluid and excess acid at the same time. And of course there's that relentless thirst. When there's a very hot, when there's a lot of Pitta energy around, that thirst is always there. So even though you're giving out a lot of liquid, you're also thirsting for a lot of liquid, because the fire is aggravating the water, because the fire and water are working together. But at the same time, if the water diminishes, you're also wanting to replenish it all the time, because the fire is so out of control. You're always wanting to quell the fire, but the fire, the more you feed the fire, the more the fire is burning up the water. Do you see what I mean? But of course, it's not to say that you shouldn't drink. Of course, if you're thirsty, you should be drinking a lot of water, because otherwise the fire will burn you up completely and your tissues will end up getting depleted. So spreading, the quality of spreading, we talked about the forest fire, the spreading of the fire, wild infections, rashes, need for name and fame. Now this is an interesting one. This is Vasant Lad's interpretation, which I think is true. It's ironic because he's one of the most famous people in the world. But he says that this Pitta energy has a need to get itself out there. So this craving for recognition, because again the solar energy in astrology, the solar energy, the sun energy, is about specialness. It's about healthy narcissism, in the sense that it's a recognition that you are a child, you are a special child that has been arisen from a moment in time, and is an expression of that moment in time, and it's a special moment. So we're all unique. We are all special because we're all unique, and we're all children of that solar energy. But when that solar energy is out of balance, then that sense of specialness is also out of balance. And so you're looking to validate. That sense, that need for validation is so much greater, so much more in need, and there's an urgency, a constant urgency to want to reassure this solar child that everything is okay. And so the more people that recognize you as something special, the more that you're able to pacify that unsettled solar child that has not received enough of that love. So it's a Pitta thing. Oily is a Pitta quality. Soft, oily skin, hair, oily feces, intolerance of deep fried food. Deep fried food. So Pitta people, Pitta aggravated people, this is something to, because remember, like attracts like increases like, and if you're having a good day, you know to avoid the chips, you know to avoid the fried whatever it may be, but on a bad day, you'll be attracted to it. You'll want it more, because the there's a perversion or a corruption of the way the mind interprets the cravings. Sour. Sour is an acidic pH, which is a lower pH, and excessive salivation caused by sour taste. So sour, too much sour food, which we're going to go over a little bit later in the slides, too much sour food can actually increase pitta energy. Like what? Sour? What is sour food? Citrus food, citrus fruits. Pickles, exactly. Fermented foods are sour. Pungent, we know what that means. Spicy. So the spices that are particularly pungent are things like cayenne pepper, mustard, jalapeno, this kind of thing. Bitter. The quality of bitter is something that arises in pitta types a lot. Jealousy, cynicism. And there's a kind of a fleshy smell associated with pitta as well. So, and this probably arises from the sweat and the toxic blood and whatever it may be. You know, there's a kind of a fleshy smell that's associated. So, I guess that's also when you think about pitta is also associated with those acute hormonal periods. So teenagers, you know, when they're going through puberty, and there's all these funny smells that suddenly start to appear, you know, in the teenage body, and this is associated with pitta also. Red. The color red, obviously, is associated. So red blood cells, red cheeks, red eyes, you know, red skin, red nose, seeing red. You know the expression, when you see red, you think that's definitely a pitta thing. Yellow is associated with pitta because it is the spleen is also part of that pitta energy, as is the liver. So bile is a pitta product because bile is a direct part of the digestive process. It's used to break down fats. So activities that aggravate pitta are excess work. You know, pitta can be workaholic, absolute workaholic, no fun. You know, the fun is the work because there's a need for perpetual mental focus. Mental vacillation for a pitta person is like hell because the sharp quality of the mind needs something to get its teeth into. Does that make sense? Angry situations and angry people can aggravate pitta more. So there's only room for one pitta person in any household, really. You know, everyone else has to be, you know. Red clothing. Red clothing. Be careful of red clothing if you are prone to pitta aggravation. If you're prone to pitta aggravation, be careful of the colors that you choose to wear, you know. Too much heat and sun speaks for itself. Too much pitta food, which we're going to be more specific about later on. Too much exercise can aggravate pitta because, why? Too much heat, exactly. Excessive mental focus and order. You know, a sort of relentless kind of need to organize and to administer and to put things in place and to focus. Insufficient relaxation. Excessive beliefs. What does that mean?
Religious zeal.
Religious zeal, exactly. And a pitta person, or the pitta in all of us, because you'll find it in you somewhere, I promise, there's a kind of a little zealot that believes, that really holds tenaciously to certain things and can't let them go and insists on them. Absolutely insists on, however irrational, just banging away at it, you know, and that's that pitta energy. Excessive ambition and goal setting. So a pitta energy the Pitta person, the person that over-identifies with that energy, needs to be reminded constantly that life is short. And huge goal setting may not necessarily be a healthy way forwards. There has to be a balance built into that goal setting for a Pitta person, because otherwise it can become completely obsessive and out of control. So in itself it's not wrong. Goal setting is a very healthy thing. But for a Pitta aggravated person, excessive goal setting can completely draw them away from the joy of being in the moment. This is the issue.